Action without learning is dangerous. And we got part of the way through part 5, and we are in the part of the making of a mantra. And we learned some things. Abracadabra, and it was mind blowing to me that of what it meant. Could anyone remember what abracadabra actually means?
What I speak, I create.
Yes, isn't that amazing? I never knew what that meant. You know, I'm going around the house as a kid, abracadabra, abracadabra, abracadabra. Never knew what I was even saying. But very powerful phrase, and the words affect every cell in your body. So thank you for remembering that, because I when I stumbled upon that, I couldn't believe. I said, man, all this time I never knew that. You know, so good. And words are sounds of an expressed thought, or words are sounds of expressed thought. Again, we revisited the reticular activating system in the eye of Ra. Synonymous dialogue there, and I was able to find a picture with the eye of Ra and the brain, and actually what our ancestors were telling us in the depiction of the eye of Ra. So I did locate a picture. So hopefully we'll get to it today. The homework shares, you guys, y'all showed out. I mean, the homework shares were powerful as well as personal. Now, why do you think that I wrote here they should be that way?
Play tones on your phone. Don't put your head on the pillow. Scooch down, straighten your legs out.
Hello?
You off mute, Pat.
Hello?
I don't know who that was.
That was Paul off mute by mistake. Instructor, can you repeat the question?
Okay, so I stated that the homework shares were powerful as well as personable. And I wrote the question here, why should they be? Anyone have any idea as to why those shares should have been personable?
Why the homework shares were powerful?
Why? Because someone offered or someone shared or made a statement that they were personable. And I said, well, why should they be? Why should they be personal?
Okay.
I instructor, I think that everybody feels things differently. So when you say something like with the axioms you give out, you ever notice how when y'all do the axioms, everybody have a different take on it, but it's still the same axiom. It's the same way. It's going to be personalized because it touches everybody differently. Whereas you might see something, you might be sad. I might see something that might make me laugh. They might see something that might make them mad, but it's the same picture.
Okay. Okay, good share, John. Anybody else? Kemet?
For me, why sharing should be personable is because it makes it better to apply it to your own life. Like if you make everything such a general statement all the time, you don't realize that you might not even be getting what you need to get if you don't apply it to your actual life. Like, for example, when we do the axioms on Saturday classes and they give like these general responses, half the time they don't realize that they're not actually getting the meaning because they're not taking the actual axiom and applying it to their life to where they can see where it would actually show up for them. Like, obviously, if we take when you see Kempo is already gone, for example, if you take that general statement like, oh, if I just throw a punch type of thing, you're not getting the actual meaning behind it. You have to dig deeper into that. And then that's when you get that type of aha moment, like, oh man, this is what they meant. And this is how I can actually take what I'm learning and apply it.
Right,
So
right. Good share. Thank you. Raynell?
Going back to the quote that you shared, learning without reflection is a waste. Without the personal connection, then we would just be talking about theory. Like you can read 10,000 books over the course of your life, but if you don't apply any of that to you personally, then those books, that information is just as good sitting inside of a book on the shelf collecting dust. But it's actually the connection that we make to it that takes it from theory to practical application. And so you can just go through life living without the reflection or without learning, or you can go through life just learning, but without reflection. And both of those are like two sides of the same coin because you're missing the other piece, like the key pieces to the puzzle.
Oh man, very, very, very true. It's akin to what you said earlier, Ray. Going through life, surviving, right? Going through life just surviving. Life is more than just survival. Life is meant to be lived and not survived. So yeah, it's akin to the same statement. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. Very powerful. And two, as you guys are going to see, as we go through into the making of a mantra, these mantras have to be very personable, very specific and personable, as you'll see when we go down through it. So let me go through the next one here. I love it when it spins like that. Could someone take that slide for me, please?
I'll go instructor. Peace, family.
Peace.
So most of our curses roll off our own tongue with negative self-talk, particularly with the use of the powerful pronoun of I, which is a declaration. We can be our own worst problem. The words you speak become the house you live in. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. He who guards his mouth and tongue keeps himself of calamity. Proverbs 21:23.
Good. What now I'm gonna say this very carefully. Instructor, our crew always gets me on this one. What resonates with you when you read that?
Specifically, I had an issue with self-sabotage many years ago, similar to the word try. And it was I can't do that. I can't do that. And I was limiting myself simply with that one word. I mean, I was capable, I was doing things, but there were also like, we'll say I couldn't do a headstand in yoga. Well, I was limiting myself because it's like, I couldn't do that. I can never do that. My shoulders aren't strong enough. So I would limit myself with that. I had the technique, but I did not have the proper words or self-talk to help me achieve it.
Okay. All right. Can you do it now?
I can do a successful shoulder stand with precision.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Actual headstand, not quite yet.
Not yet. See there? Not yet.
Yes.
Not yet. It's coming though.
Yes. And I one of the things that my sister, she's a very positive instrument in my life. One day I was speaking, she had an opportunity to do something. And I don't remember what it was that I said, but what stuck with me was her saying, don't plant seeds of doubt in me. And I was like, whoa. I'm sorry, you're right. Seeds of doubt. I had never heard it before. I
Mm,
had never really applied that phrase or excuse me, or term to anything, let alone knowing about a seed of doubt. What is that? And those are the words as we speak them into the universe, because it's listening. God, whoever, one sees as their higher power, but it's listening. And those words can either make it or break it, like something can be for you.
mm.
And you speak it right out your life. I've done it.
Yes, yes. Many of us have done that. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Oh, can I add one more thing to it?
You
I
sure
believe
can.
Proverbs 8, where it speaks about discernment of the tongue, actually preserving thyself with it and how you use it. I can fact check it as we go and put it in the chat, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it speaks of that. And I learned that at an early age. And at an early age, I didn't yet understand the ways of the world and how I spoke about it. I just thought that life was happening. I had no information or wisdom of being careful what I say. So that's my piece for tonight on that particular this particular slide.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Anyone else before we get into this particular slide?
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
It's a little noisy where I am. I remember when I was in middle school, we've all been insecure in middle school and acted a little weird. I remember this girl, while I was acting weird, had whispered to her friend next to her that this guy's a freak, referring to me. And a few days or some time after that, I had my feelings hurt by my mother. And so I was up crying that night and repeating that to myself over and over and over again. I am a freak. I am a freak. Now, years later, going on a meditation retreat, in meditation, some memories of middle school were coming up. But when I got deeper and deeper into that meditation, that mantra was coming up as well. I was hearing myself saying in the back of my mind, I'm a freak, I'm a freak. So the deeper I got into the meditation, it was kind of like a wheel was spinning in the back of my mind ever since that moment in middle school, that mantra. And the deeper I got into the meditation, the closer I was able to get to that metaphorical wheel or that mantra repeating itself. And when I stayed aware and didn't react to it, I was able to kind of stop that wheel and stop that mantra. And I've learned to accept my uniqueness, not so much being a freak, but my uniqueness. And I know back then, the way I was acting was more so just a desire for attention. And so, I've worked those things out since then, but that was a curse, kind of something that someone else put on to me, but that I also took on to myself. And it wasn't until my adulthood I was able to catch that insecurity that I had planted in myself, that I had cursed myself with, and I was able to stop that.
Mm, mm. Yeah, you thank you for sharing that. It's just reminds me of just your share. Reminds me of what some of us have taken on ourselves and referring to ourselves as niggers and framing it as a term of endearment when in fact we will call that in a derogatory sense, but we've taken it on and switched it to a term of endearment. So when you shared that, it made me think about that. So thank you for sharing that.
Would you say, because of the history with that word, even though we've taken it on as a term of endearment, would you say that it's a positive thing that we take it on as a term of endearment, or given the history of it, it's continuing that?
I think it is continuing that. I never really agreed with the term of endearment. I never really agreed with that. Uh, I, I go back to when, whatever you call something, that's what it will become. You just keep calling it that, that's what it'll be. So if you keep declaring it, keep saying it, you'll never really reach Godship. Because you're referring to yourself as such. So, I never really agreed with the concept of, they say, well, that's just a term of endearment. That's what we call each other. So, no, I never really agreed with that.
It's interesting that you bring that up. I'm with my unit right now with our annual training, and I brought with me the book, The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. And this is a book that was, I don't know when, but he was around from 1875 to 1950. And so, from what I know about history, this is before Martin Luther King's era, also James Brown's Black Pride era. And so, given the title of the book, it's, you see how it was such a normal term back then. Whereas if it were to come out now, I would rewrite the title as The Miseducation of the Black Man, or the African, or the African American.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. And excellent read, though. Excellent read. Thank you, Topher, for sharing.
Thank you.
Now, here, could someone take this slide for me, please? And I want to have a little bit on this.
I'll do it. It's
Okay.
D. Spend the first 20 minutes of your morning wisely. These minutes set the stage for the day. Meditate on your intentions, practice gratitude.
There was more on this, but those were the things that I really wanted to capture there. What are your thoughts on this, D?
Sorry, baby. I think the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning definitely sets the intention for your day. I notice if I wake up and the first thing I do is grab my phone, even if it's just to see what time it is, I end up on social media or scrolling through something that's not going to be beneficial for me throughout the day. But if I wake up and the first thing I do is meditate, the entire mood for the day is shifted. It's different.
Yeah, it is. It is. Absolutely. Anybody else on this one?
Yes, instructor. I get up early every day due to various things that need to be cooked, go to the farmer's market, blah, blah, blah. And if I don't get up early enough and set up my day and plan it out, it's horrible. The first 15 minutes, I'm just trying to think, okay, step one. After I get through with all of my brushing my teeth and blah, 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 first thing I need to do is go get. Second thing I need to do is purchase. Third thing I need to do is call. And then the fifth thing I do is go to my phone. And I put it in my little notes. And once I put it in my little notes, then I do my meditation, I'm ready. But if I don't do it that way, if I rush past it, if I miss any one of those steps, I'll be running around chasing my tail all day.
Wow, that's a powerful share. Anybody else? Some powerful shares today.
I have something. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is LaKenya. I was one day, it was years ago. My son's father told me we used to meditate together. He used to go through different practices with me. And one of the things he told me was to once you wake up in the morning, if you get phone calls, don't answer the phone, don't do this, don't do that. You spend time with yourself. And it was one time in particular, one of my bosses called me and she woke me up. It was maybe about 5:30 in the morning. She
Mhm.
said she had something on her mind and she just had to let it off. I mean, just get it off her chest. So she was just dumping, 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 dumping.
Mm.
And it was just so negative, I could taste it.
Mm.
And after she got done, she said, okay, I feel much better now. All right, you get you some rest. I'll talk to you later. Call me when you wake up.
Oh man.
And
Ooh.
because of that, and I wasn't even aware of, I was just listening to what she was saying. I was basically still asleep.
Mm.
Because of that conversation, like a whole week, my whole spirit was just effed up.
Yeah.
And I do understand the importance of taking that time for yourself in the
Yes.
morning.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
Oh yeah. Very, very important. And I would dare say sacred time to yourself. Um, I have to applaud instructor Aku for setting up that meditational uh, chat room where, you know, get up as a collective and just sharing um, the meditations, uh, grand rising, just sharing uh, peace and well wishes to each other on your wake. Very powerful practice, especially a very good habit to maintain and keep up, which is going to be key or pivotal as we progress through this presentation. So thank you. I wanted to spend some time talking about that. So in the morning, here, just wanted to share some things here. The brain is programmable. There are prescribed ways to do it. However, there are ways that are best. Here is one way, and during this particular part of the presentation, we're going to talk about the selection of a prescribed time, selection of a place, and word selection is pertinent here. So we're going to get into now some mantras and what makes a good mantra, what doesn't make a good mantra, and you're just going to go down that rabbit hole here. So here, what states of consciousness
I'm
are
sorry,
more?
Chief. Could you go back to that slide one more time, please? I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So I can go over it again. Selection of a prescribed time, a selection of a place, and word selection. How you formulate, what words you choose as a part of the mantra will be very key, because it's as you discover here, it's gonna, some of these things will shock you. It just shocked me. Some of you may already know, but just for all intents and purposes, I want to share. I don't want to make an assumption that everybody knows these. Everyone knows these things. So are you good?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So, what states of consciousness are more susceptible to mantras? What times are the best times to use mantras? Could someone get this slide for me, please?
I will.
Yes.
Brainwave frequencies reflect states of consciousness and level of reality. And then it has awakened, dreaming, normal awakeness, and deep sleep. And it's gamma, alpha, beta is normal awakeness, theta is dreaming, and delta is deep sleep. Superconscious is highly intensive states of consciousness and perception involved in higher mental activity and the organization of information.
Mm-hmm.
Beta is conscious, fully awake, alert, ordinary reality, functional in the third dimension and middle world.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha is the subconscious, deeply relaxed, light hypnosis, meditation, biofeedback, daydreaming just before and after a sleep, mystical state, listening to music, watching a movie. Theta is superconscious, drowsy, tranquil, unconscious, light sleep, looks like shamanic journeying, access to the fifth dimension and non-ordinary reality, the upper and lower worlds. And then delta is deeply unconscious, sleep, astral traveling, dreaming, and visiting other dimensions.
Okay. So Aisha, so which one of these states do you think is the best state in order to receive a mantra or to practice this type of reprogramming?
I think gamma
You think gamma?
or
Now, why would you choose gamma? Excuse me.
because it's a highly attentive state. But I also can see it. I can see it in two. I can see it in gamma or alpha. I don't know the answer, so I'm gonna just tell you what I think based upon reading.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would see it in alpha or gamma because either you're gonna be intentional about it and like it's gonna come, like you're gonna work it while you're intentional, or you're going to work it and then subconsciously it becomes intentional.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And Aisha, it's not my intention for you to give me the right answer. I just want to know what you think. You know what your thoughts are. So please don't try to say, okay, I got the right answer, because this is new to a lot of us. So no worries about right or wrong answers. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Instructor,
Yes.
theta, unless I'm reading it wrong, theta and gamma
You
are
say
super
theta and gamma.
are super conscious.
Okay.
They're the same thing.
Uh, they're
It's
the opposite ends of the spectrum, I believe. There, because they're opposite ends of the same spectrum.
okay. Super subconscious.
Which one do you think?
For theta,
You think
maybe
theta?
super subconscious.
Okay. All right. So I got gamma and theta. Anybody else?
I think it's in Delta. I think it's in the dream state because most people dream what they want to do and build up the courage and then they actually do it. A lot of people either fight in their dreams or either fight their dreams. So I think it happened in the dream state. I think it happened in Delta.
Okay.
It's
So it's
reprogramming yourself.
okay. Now, John, you sound like you really far away. Is it where your mic is?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it seems like, like you really far away.
Because I'm on the phone. I'm on Zoom. Zoom on the phone. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you better now. Okay. So I
You
got,
might have to hit that speaker in Zoom on your phone because it'll put it in phone mode until you put it in Zoom mode. It's like a speaker in Zoom.
You hear that, John? John, you hear that? Okay. Okay, so we got delta. Someone said gamma. I think someone said, did someone say alpha?
Instructor, I'm debating over here in my mind
Okay,
between
go ahead.
alpha. I'm between alpha and gamma.
Alpha and gamma.
Only,
Okay, tell me why.
okay, so with gamma, if I remember correctly, during the brainwave lectures, it was associated with organizing of information. That was gamma. But on the other end, alpha was associated with being receptive to information.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say alpha. Now that I'm saying it out loud and I'm saying it's being receptive, I want to say alpha. Yeah, that's my final answer. I'm gonna go with alpha. That's what I'm going with.
Final answer. My final answer, alpha.
And then gamma is organizing that information once it's received. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay. Now, let me ask this question. What state of consciousness are you in now?
I
Beta.
believe, yeah, beta
Okay. Say that again, Kimmy.
and beta.
So you say you're in beta.
Yeah, I'm just that's just normal everyday life. So that's where I am right now.
Okay. All right. Now, can anyone else offer who else give me a state of consciousness that they think they're in now?
Wait, I just contradicted myself. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If, okay, I'm working through this, y'all. All
Work
right,
through
so
it. Work
if
through it.
I'm receiving information right now and I believe that it's alpha, then technically I would be in an alpha state. And now that I'm looking at it, you can be in an alpha state listening to music or watching a movie, but being that we're interactive and learning at the moment and processing information, I believe I'm in alpha since that's what I just said as far as receiving information.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? And it's a reason I'm spending some time going over these states of consciousness.
I believe we're in beta, sir. I'm not sure about how it go because instructor Keith went through it, and I think it was the 5th week, or it might have been the 6th week. He went through the whole thing. I have to find those notes on it, but I think he said beta. I think we're in beta because alpha is like when you're super aware of something's going on, and you move and making movements, or you seeing something and moving at the same time. Like if you're at work or you're trying to get home, where you gotta do multitask. I think beta is just chilling because you can still learn at that stage. I'm thinking.
Okay, so you're saying which one are you offering, John?
I'm offering alpha for the learning part, and I'm saying beta because I believe Instructor Keith said you can be at more than one at one time.
Okay, all right. So you're offering both. You said alpha and beta.
Yeah, because at some point you have to transition, like because I think your mind works like a transmission. You shift from one gear to another. You don't stay in the same because when you're looking at something, you're visual learning. When you talking, we're listening through our ears, and then when we telling, we're oral learning. So it's a combination. So I think it's more than one.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Instructor, I feel like we're in beta because we're fully awake and we're listening to the lesson. We're focused on it. we may drift off into alpha, imagining circumstances or different things that scenarios that apply to the lesson.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Instructor,
Yes, give me.
I need you to state the question one more time.
Okay.
I'm in between two, but I want to be solid.
Okay. So I asked, what state of consciousness are you in right now?
Thank you, instructor.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I'm in gamma because there's a lot of questions and a lot of responses going around at one time. So I am fishing through everything that I'm hearing in an attempt to be, as the definition says here, highly attentive. So I would say that I'm in a gamma state just based on the interaction. Is also leading me not to even respond. I'm just listening. So that may be my flight. But I don't know. I'm just listening at this point.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Anybody else? Okay. So I'm glad no one said Delta, which means you sleep. So I'm happy nobody said that, right? However, I'm gonna make sure I got it in the next slide, but however, most times or oft times when you are, and please correct me, instructor or North, I know you're taught on this if I am incorrect, but oftentimes when you are learning, organizing information as listening, you're in the gamma state. You are you're listening, and especially if you're taking notes, you are organizing information so it makes sense to you. Some can be going between two, gamma and beta, depending on what's before you, right? When you start to lose interest or you're tired, the level of consciousness starts to go towards the delta till you're in a state of sleep. So when you're in a learning state and you are seeking to organize or get information, typically you're at a higher mental state or a higher mental activity, because the objective there is typically to learn something or to organize information to a degree that it makes sense, or you're trying to understand a concept or whatever's being offered. Just like in this particular presentation, many of you are at either beta or gamma. I would challenge, if you are daydreaming, meditating, and this is not like listening to music or watching a movie for entertainment or enjoy, for to enjoy. I would challenge the alpha, theta, or even the delta state. No one offered delta, but between alpha and theta. So in that you are getting information, you're organizing information, you are in a learning mode, typically that's gamma or beta. Could someone get that slide for me, please?
super conscious mind, 4 to 7 hertz theta brain waves, deep meditation, deep hypnosis, access to past lives, access to inner life, access to future lives, access to your wise mind, access to all knowledge and minds. Meditation is always good, but the best times are before bed or early in the morning.
Yeah.
Theta, you want me to continue?
Yes.
Theta, significant brain rejuvenation. 5 cycles theta. At this frequency, research has shown that the brain will significantly refresh
Refresh itself.
itself. I can't see. Let me see.
Reducing brain fog.
Reducing brain fog and retraining. I can't see the rest. To sleep.
Retraining the brain to sleep deeply again.
Retraining the brain to sleep deeply again.
Okay. So that's why, as stated earlier, the best times, it's always good to meditate, as I said at the top right here in the center of this frame. But the best times to meditate are right before you're going to sleep or early in the morning. Those are the ideal times to meditate. So again, where you're entering into this super conscious mind.
I got a question, instructor.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. My question was, if it's early in the morning or right before you go to sleep, so it's best at your drowsiest point where you're close to going to sleep?
Yeah. As stated, going back to this slide, just before you're going to sleep, it's just alpha and theta. Can someone mute, please? Mute, Infinite. Could you mute, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Just before you're going to sleep, or just as you're waking up, typically you're between alpha and theta. These are the best times to meditate. These are the best times to kind of like, as stated in this slide, to where you're reducing brain fog. The brain refreshes itself. You can train the brain to refresh itself in this particular state. So again, meditation is always good. However, there are best prescribed times to meditate, especially if you're working on doing something, and which is where I'm going. Does that make sense, John?
Me too, instructor. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to retrain my brain. Not to be funny, but I want to be like Instructor Keith. I want to laugh at people when I get upset instead of be ready to choke them out. But see, it be all over myself. You can look at me and say I was ready to pop. But him, I don't know. He could be smiling and laughing, be dead serious. So that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to retrain myself.
Yes, sir. So in retraining the brain, there is a prescribed time in which you do it, which is what I'm offering here. Okay. So again, we're talking about states of consciousness here. That's alpha or theta. Okay. So make note of that. So that's the best time. Just before you're getting ready to go to bed, or when you're waking up in the morning, before you interact with anything or anybody else. Best times. Any questions or thoughts on this? Okay, move on. Okay. So there are some things that you should know about the subconscious. So we're gonna take some time here because we're talking about, you know, how and why. So there's a prescribed time, and there's some other things that you should know about the subconscious part of your mind. Could someone read that for me, please?
How? Hold on, fix it up. It's too small. Okay. How should the subconscious? Which way you want me to start it? Which part? The subconscious mind, the conscious mind. How should the subconscious be rewired and why? The subconscious part of your mind is only 7 years old. Wow. And a child shall lead them, Isaiah 11:16. What should you say and why? Carefully written samples and statements.
Okay. So here, thanks, John. Here, the subconscious mind stops growing at the age of 6 or 7. And it made me think of this passage in the Bible, and a child shall lead them, especially when we know that the subconscious mind is responsible for 90 to 95% of your behavior. That is, in fact, a child leading your behavior. And the statements that you formulate should be carefully written, simple statements. Simple enough that a 7-year-old would be able to understand what it is that you're talking about. Okay. Any thoughts or questions here?
Well, I got a lot of questions about that. So basically, I've been running around 95% of the time like a 7-year-old. Really?
By a 7-year-old. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I think it's kind of interesting because I think, I'm not sure, but around 7 or 8, maybe, that's like kind of the age where things become more real, and like you're more likely to believe certain things when you're a child than as we get older. And I guess reality, or our view of reality, sets in. We're less likely to believe the things that we set out. Like people always say, now it's a thing, like you're never too old to achieve your dreams. Whereas when you like 20, 21, people start telling you like, oh, it's time to focus. Like you guys were mentioning earlier, it's time to focus on a real career, or like what is limited, you know. But as a child, your limits are kind of off because you don't really know what's real or not.
Yeah. Yeah. You haven't been taught all that foolishness. So you believe, and you believe the vastness and the power of the universe for what it is. As you get older, you start to doubt in it, and you put the limitations on self, saying, you know, you're too old for that. Can't do that no more. You're too old. Or, you know, or whatever the excuse is at the time. So in working with children, I love working with children because they're so brutally honest, and they will tell you what they will tell you anything. And there is no limitation as to what they can do once they get it into their minds. So very fascinating group to work with.
Instructor.
Yes.
If you covered this, don't answer it. I'll catch it on the replay. I got temporarily distracted. Did you unpack what that means? The subconscious part of your mind is only 7 years old. Did you dive into that yet?
I did.
Okay, well,
I
I'll catch it on the replay.
Yeah, this was in earlier parts of the presentation. We were talking about the subconscious part of the mind, and here I wanted to like circle back around and really click out here how old the subconscious part of your mind actually is. Which I found was a fascinating fact to where one would not even think along these lines. So in researching this and digging stuff out, I'm like, man, this is good. So it made me think about a lot of other things. So yes, earlier on in this presentation, we were talking about the subconscious part of the mind, the two parts of the mind.
May I ask another question here? Because I've been totally tied to it outside of the last minute or so.
Yeah.
Does that imply that we should approach reprogramming the subconscious as though you are educating a 7-year-old? Is that what that implies?
That's what that implies. Yes, sir. And that's why I said here at the second part of that the statement should be carefully written and simple. It's very simple statements, very carefully written, thought out, simple statements that if you were to say them to a 7-year-old, they would understand what you're talking about.
Ashe, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, some good stuff. So any more questions along this before I go a little further? Because now we're talking about, now we're into the meat of it, about now actually how to do this.
I got one more question, Inspector. I got one more question.
Come on,
okay,
John.
so why 7? Because that's really okay. I get a young age, but why 7? Why not 5? Why 7? What makes your brain stop at that age?
Well, I think Aisha, if I'm not mistaken, offered that in Piaget's theoretical framework. He said this is where the age of 7, where the child reaches a concrete stage of development. If I'm not mistaken, that's why 7. Those Raynell, I think Kenyatta is on here. If I misspoke there, please correct me.
Change on a molecular level. Instructor, I don't know why I'm speaking, but because my study was in early childhood education specifically,
right.
I believe the age is 9.
Mm-hmm.
It's solid at 9. So leading up to 9 years old, things start to form in the child's brain to like really understanding that they're human, who they are, self-identification.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But for those who are actually in the field, please correct me if I'm wrong.
And it's
Ray.
watch your kids become somebody, right?
Okay, hold on, wait.
Oh
yeah. It's been a minute since I studied Piaget and B.F. Skinner, but I do remember taking early childhood psychology, and it is at that age between 7 and 9 where the child begins to formulate certain notions around the world based on their environment, based on responses etc. And so, that age 7 is a pretty good predictor as to when the child begins that. Now, of course, it's stuffed throughout the development. It's continually stuffed and as the kid makes it through adolescence, continually stuffed from that point. But before 7, it's almost like hitting and leaving, but it's at 7 where it begins to stick and begin to formulate notions of the world. So,
yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Does that make sense, John? 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 Now, where'd you go, John?
yeah, where Brother John go? Right?
Yeah, you asked the question, John. Did you hang up?
Where you go, brother?
John asked the question, did hang up. Okay. All right. So yes, between the age of 7 and 9, Topher, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I don't know much about, Piaget or the psychology of the children, but when I was beginning my studies in chakras, I learned that every 7 years is a development of a different chakra within our system.
Right.
So whether it's starting off with the root or the crown chakra, those first 7 years would be that fundamental chakra that's focused on. And when I think of the root chakra, I look at that as the foundation of everything. And with the unconscious being close to a part of our brainstem and our natural reactions to things, it would make sense that our primitive brain, our animal brain, would develop from that within those first 7 years.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of it from a chakra perspective.
Right. Okay. So it's aligning with what's offered, correct?
Say it again.
So it is in alignment with what's being offered. Am I correct?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. So again, I felt it pertinent to go back because this is a crucial part in understanding of how to reprogram the subconscious part of your mind. When you understand that is 7 years old, and whatever you formulate in this particular part of the mind has to be very deliberate. Excuse me, one moment. Excuse me, one moment.
I'm sorry, instructor. I totally missed what you just said. Me and Gizi here stuck on what Topher just said.
Okay. So I just reiterated that what Topher offered was in alignment with what was being shared, with what you shared as well as Kenyatta shared between the ages of 7 and 9.
Copy.
The formulation of that root chakra in terms of the chakras, a new chakra, and Topher, you correct me if I misspeak, every 7 years, formulation of another chakra. So the first chakra, being the root chakra, being the first one to develop, is right in alignment with a 7-year-old child getting a sense of who and where he is. That's when that concrete reality kind of like clicks in.
Yep, that's correct. And also with the root chakra dealing with survival, it makes sense that those first 7 years, you're figuring out, okay, what's my environment like? What planet am I on? What's here on this planet? What's available for my survival and everything? So that's my understanding of it.
Right. Correct. All right.
Yo, instructor. I'm going through it right now.
Okay.
Gigi like, yo, let class go on. I'm like, no, I gotta share this. Yo, what Topher just said was crazy. Oh God. So we like going. Gigi looked it up, right? And it's like, so every 7 years. So I did the multiplications. Like, damn. So we don't really develop our chakra system till we like 49. And I'm like, so she looked up like where I would be at like 33. You know what I mean? Like we still developing. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit. Like my mind is like I just had to share how blown my mind was. Thank you, Topher, for like sharing that piece. That was amazing. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, that was good.
Hey, what about me? I started the question.
Yeah, you
Oh, now the brother want to come back.
hung up, John. You asked the question, then hung up the phone. I was like, John, does that make sense to you? You ain't say me. I said, John asked the question and hung up the phone.
No, I asked the question.
Where did Brother John go? Right.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's very important that you really understand what's happening here, because this is going to be pivotal and key to you formulating some solid chakras that will actually change your reality. So yeah, Topher, that was a heavy drop that you just made there. And also the next few pieces that we're going to be going into are going to be crucial. So anything else before we go on?
Instructor Ray Nail has her hand up.
Okay. Instructor Ray?
I think it's pretty relevant, like sharing about the 7-year cycles of just like the subconscious mind. Something that Jalen has told me a few times and that like I've researched about is that every 7 years, like your body's cells replace themselves and you basically go through a new body every 7 years as well. So I think that's pretty significant with the way that we're talking about the cycles and how they relate to the chakras, but literally you're physically changing and in a new body multiple times throughout your life. So I think the cool thing about that is like just doing the math and seeing at what stage you're in or what cycle you're coming up on or ending is really a good way to kind of reframe and reshape and go back to square one for like, what are your goals at the subconscious level and a physical aspect? Like, do you have any physical health goals? Like going into my new body, I want to have this, and you're literally shedding the old pieces of you, like mentally and physically. So I thought that kind of related.
Wow. Right. Nice. That was a nice share. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we are vibing right on the right thing. This is just where I wanted us to be. Very good. Thank you for that. Okay. Any other comments, shares on this particular one?
I mean, just because I keep hearing people say the number 7 and like all this stuff happens at 7, it's just like you just think automatically it's 7 days in a week. 7 is the number of completion.
Right.
7 is that. So it's all just like I like kind of clicking, but it's really just that's what I keep thinking about. It's just like the number, like there's also power in the numbers.
Yes, it is. Ashe. It is. Absolutely. Good observation. All right. So now we're at a point. What should be said in a mantra? So in the next slide, I'm going to share some mantras, but before I do share that, could someone read what I have here?
Now, a mantra is a tool for the mind. An affirmation, what is it? A confirmation of truth, a declaration. According to what you have learned about the subconscious mind, everything that you tell it is the truth.
All right. Do you know why that is so?
Because our words have power. And what you tell your mind, you manifest, because we create our reality.
Now, I'm challenging you to go back to some earlier presentations about what was stated about the subconscious mind. Does anyone remember?
The brain cannot tell the difference between an actual event and one that is imagined or contemplated.
Right. Can't tell the difference between the two. So everything is real to the subconscious mind. Thank you.
You're welcome, instructor.
Now, samples of mantras. Now, I went through and I selected some mantras that were out there being offered. And I want you guys to just read over them yourselves, and then I want someone to read it out loud. Just go through them quickly yourselves, and then I want someone to offer just to read them.
Sample of mantra. I will not give in to sadness.
Mm-hmm.
I will not let my thoughts control the way I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I am strong.
Mm-hmm.
I will never give up.
Mm-hmm.
I am not unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
I am not depressed.
Mm-hmm.
I am strong. I will never give up.
Mm-hmm.
I will not let my thoughts control the way I feel.
I wrote that in there twice for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. Thank you, Jeremiah.
You're welcome.
Could you get this one too, Jeremiah?
Yes, sir. Why not? It's a good movie. Hypnotherapists are told not to use negative wording in their hypnotic suggestion. The subconscious doesn't hear negative wording. Avoid wording or phrases like don't, try, no longer, will not, I can't, I am not able, I won't.
Okay. Any thoughts on hypnotherapist training?
Hypnotherapist. Since I'm hypnotherapist training is from what I understand, from what I've looked at, is hypnotherapists are trained to talk strictly to the subconscious, to go bypass the conscious mind and talk to the subconscious of a person. And they have the ability to basically to some degree program the other person. So if I'm the hypnotherapist and you're the patient, I can to some degree program your brain or reprogram your brain. For instance, like hypnotherapist for quitting cigarettes, certain addictions like eating, too much food, things of that nature. Hypnotherapy has been used in that regard
Right.
to help people, change the way that they think, change the way that they address certain addictions.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now I saw a lot of hands go up, so I think I saw a few flashes. I think I saw you, Ray.
I was gonna say I definitely, when the first slide was up with the examples, I was thinking of how I think those things are still manifesting the things that you don't want, because you're telling your brain, like, it doesn't know the difference between a joke or like what you don't want and what you do. All it knows is the topic you're focusing on is whatever it is. So if you're saying like, I won't, like, I don't know, I won't have any emotional breakdowns or whatever your goal is, like you have to know that the topic or the subject is really all that it's listening to. So think about if you're giving a speech to like a 5-year-old or something, they're going to catch on to certain words, and what sounds the most devastating or the most impactful is what they'll probably catch, as opposed to like if I said if you eat off the floor, you're gonna die, then they might hear I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Like that's the kind of mindset that I see when I see mantras that have the I don't want negativity or I don't want to be broke. I don't want those. If you're going to spend any energy on what you don't want, I would recommend spending it on what you actually do want. So like instead of saying I'm broke or I don't want to be broke again, you'll say I am operating from a place of abundance. You know, I have everything that I need. My needs are met. Instead of saying I want to one day meet my needs, you have to act as if you already have it. And then that will change the mindset of your movement because you're not even focused on the negative.
Okay, very good. Very good share. Anybody else? This is good stuff.
I got my hand up, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, so like a lot of things, I got a lot of family that's military, like my brother's special forces, my cousin's Marine recon, and a lot of the monsters or what they would call cadets, where they train and they run and they get them up at 3 o'clock or whatever ungodly time in the morning. They run 10 miles. They be saying little stuff and they program them. Like one time I asked my brother, we went to Florida, whatever, because I'm scared of sharks. I'm a normal person. He said, man, I jump in there with a butter knife and fillet the shark in the ocean. I said, you right. The military really makes you think you can do stuff like that. He said, because we don't quit. If I die, I'm going to come back and keep fighting. I said, what? What does that mean? What does that even mean? And he went through the whole little cadence and like it was crazy, but it's stuff that they said every morning while they was running 10 miles. So every morning they jumped up, they got these little bitty shorts, they run in the ice cold for 10 miles. And they said this stuff and they said this stuff. So they retrained their minds to think that these people could do whatever they need to do in the die hard situation. This man said he could die and come back. I couldn't believe that. And that mindset is just what a mantra does. It builds you and believes your subconscious to believe that your conscious can do whatever it is. Because he literally believes himself can jump in the ocean and fight a shark with a butter knife. My brother crazy, just like that. He a Marine. I said, hey, bro, you got it. You got all that. I'm good.
Absolutely. Good share. Thank you, John. Thank you for that.
Peace. I'm gonna jump onto that. The mantras that you were sharing, going through basic training as well as AIT, where they teach us our job every morning. Even when you become a sergeant, a non-commissioned officer, we have mantras that they're called creeds. We have a soldier's creed, we have an NCO creed, officers have a creed, but they're all mantras. I am an American soldier. I will not accept defeat. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself, and so on and so forth. Every morning we wake up, we stand in formation at the position of attention, and we repeat the soldier's creed. We sing the Army song. When you're in AIT, you sing the song according to your MOS, which is your specified military job. So it's a whole lot of programming that goes into it. They really do program. My brother, he went into the Marines as well. He went through a different type of programming, and we can notice the gap in between us because we both went through different programs, literal programs.
Yes.
To add on to that, the when we're talking about not saying don't try no longer, it's like for one, that's where I believe reverse psychology comes from, where you tell someone don't do this and now you want to do it, because I heard that the subconscious mind doesn't understand the word no or not. All it knows is yes. So if you say don't do that, you're telling someone to do that. So by us putting that energy in to prevent something, we're encouraging it to happen. I read this book called, I can't even remember the name of it, but this book was so deep. It was referring to a pendulum, something that just hangs and swings back and forth. Now you think of like Republicans and Democrats, they'll be on either side of the pendulum. Say if for people that don't want gun control, well, even just talking about it, you're feeding energy to that pendulum, whether you're encouraging an action or disencouraging an action, even speaking on it, you're feeding that energy into it. And then it becomes its own entity, like a business. Like businesses have EIN numbers. Businesses are, in a sense, metaphysical people that feed off of the energy of physical people, whether it's encouraging or discouraging. Giving it the intention regardless is still giving it that energy, because energy flows where attention goes. So whether your intention is for it to grow or to die, if you want it to die, you don't think about it, you don't talk about it, it doesn't exist to you, and it'll manifest as such. But if it exists to you and you're opposing it, you're still giving it energy by opposing it. Even if you are encouraging it or not, it's always being fed off of that energy being given to it.
Yes, good, good. Thank you, Topher. Powerful share. Thank you.
Instructor.
Yes.
That makes me think about the war on drugs, the walk against breast cancer, that kind of stuff. It's like, and that's one reason I had stopped doing the breast cancer walk, because I feel like I was contributing to, like, feeding into it continuing.
Yeah, that's because you were. Absolutely. Yep, that's good share. I'm sorry, Teresa. Go ahead.
That was it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Good, good. Teresa. Now let me I'm gonna offer these, and I want you to read these as well. And based on what what was just shared, I want you to read it and share how would the subconscious mind process this. You understand what I'm asking you to do, Teresa?
I believe so. The
Okay.
first one, I am debt free, and the subconscious may read that as debt. Focus on the word debt.
Okay.
I will not fail. Focusing on the word fail. I will not give in to sadness, and focusing on the word sadness.
Now, Teresa, stop for 1 minute. Now go back, read the first one, and state it how the subconscious mind would possibly receive it.
I am in debt.
Okay. That could be a possible way that it would read it. I am in debt, or I am debt.
Okay, I'm debt.
Okay. Go ahead, read the second
If
one.
it does not recognize not, then is I will fail.
Absolutely. Good, good. Go ahead, read the next one.
I will give in to sadness.
Yes. Okay, good.
I will let my thoughts control the way I feel.
Okay. Go ahead.
I am strong.
Now this one was a trick, Teresa.
Oh.
I put this in here intentionally, but I'm gonna come back to it. But read the next one.
I will give up.
Okay.
I am unhappy. and I am depressed.
Mhm. So if you're formulating mantras with the word not in it, and you just learned that the subconscious mind does not compute or does not read or understand not, if you're formulating a mantra with not in it, then that's exactly what you're feeding or programming into the subconscious mind. Now, I also put in here, so in the first mantra, debt is considered a negative word. So also the word not, as offered before, subconscious doesn't really discern or understand the word not. So it'll take that, as you were reading it. That's why I wanted you to read it as the subconscious mind would receive it. Now the word strong, I offered that one because that was a trick, right? When you think of the word strong, Teresa, what do you think about?
It's like I'm preparing myself to be able to be strong for a reason. Not that I'm already strong.
Okay. What does strength require?
It requires something. It requires something to make you strong. To make you have strength.
Yeah. So in order to realize how strong you are, what do you need?
Test.
You need a test, or you need what?
Test your strength.
Need resistance.
You need resistance.
Okay.
Absolutely. So when you say, I am strong, in essence, what you're asking for is resistance. You are asking universal consciousness for resistance in order for you to realize your strength. So if a part of your affirmation is, I am strong, in order to realize your strength, you're asking for obstacles and resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking that you're asking for one thing, and in a sense, you're getting something else and don't understand why you're getting it. Because you've adopted this as part of your mantra.
Instructor.
Yes.
May I jump on that?
You can.
As a real life example of a statement I made to myself over 20 years ago that I truly regret. So I know that I am financially independent, and I know that should the system keep moving, I will be financially wealthy, whatever the monetary system looks like. But long ago, when I first struck out as an entrepreneur, I said out loud, and I sure hate I said it. I said, I do not want to get rich by hitting the lottery. And I sure hate I said that because I worked my ass off. But I did not want to gain wealth by way of a windfall. And I look at, like I say, 20 plus years of, whatever. And I'm just thinking to myself, it's been many a day. I'm like, man, that was a bad thing to put out there because I could have took being rich a long time ago already.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Financially rich, that is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good share. Thank you. Now, it was my goal to finish this. Part of the because this is the last one. However, I'm running right up on 10 o'clock. So I think that this is a good place to stop.
Instructor, I got one question, instructor.
Go ahead.
Is there any way that you could send me these mantras just like this in the feed without trying to dig through the whole the whole video? Because I want to redo some of these, because the one that I do every morning is that I will have no fear of what's to come, because like I said, I had a massive heart attack. So my mantra after that, it was I would have no fear of what's to come. So whatever come, I'm gonna take it how I go. I'm gonna play it how I go. Whatever happens, good or bad, I'm gonna just take it how it come. And I've been saying that for the last 6 years. So
Okay.
like I said, I like a couple of these, and I'm gonna put them together and make one. But I did not know until we got in this class that the mind didn't recognize I will not. And I've been saying I will not be afraid for 6 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So I see. So John, I'm offering these as not good mantras. These aren't good.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
I've been doing it wrong for a while. And to remind
yeah,
myself, I like to put up notes.
John, hold on for a minute, John. So part of this presentation is to walk you through on how to formulate a good mantra. So again, that's what this is, especially this part of the presentation, how to formulate a good mantra and how the subconscious mind is actually reading or intuiting or interpreting the word no or not. And a part of what Teresa just went through is what I asked her, I will not fail. How would the subconscious read that? I will fail, right? Taking the word not or the negative word out and actually reading it as such. So the other part of the presentation, we haven't gotten to that yet, and is to, now that you learned not to put that word in there, we're going to have an exercise a little later on in this presentation as to how to formulate a good one. So that is coming as part of this presentation, John.
My bad.
No apologies necessary. So, and that's the whole point of offering this and explaining the subconscious mind and how old the subconscious mind is and all of that. If someone could take a picture of this slide and leave it in the chat for John. Could somebody do that, please? Hello?
No problem. I got it.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I don't think nobody like me like that.
No, brother, it's much love here for you, brother. So yeah, but yeah, John, we're going to be embarking on that later on in the presentation, where we're gonna actually formulate solid mantras and what should be in them, which I shared at the top. They should be really simple and well thought through. Simple enough that a child can understand them, a 7-year-old child, specifically, because that's how old the subconscious mind is. So yeah, we're going to do just that, John. So just be patient with me, brother. We're going that way. That's the direction that this is going into.
I don't know if you remember or not, when I told you when I first started this class, that's one of the things I'm trying to get out of, because I have none. I've been working on my patients for 40 years.
Well, you've come a long way, brother, because just in controlling your anger, that's a huge step. So you've come a long way already, whether you realize it or not.
Oh, I realize it because that's one of my major goals. Like when I went to prison, I was a young man, and I said to myself, because I really didn't understand why I let myself get that anger to the point where I got caught up with charges and whatnot. And I couldn't control myself, and I didn't even know how. But in that situation, like I said, one day I'm gonna just be able to walk away from it because it's not gonna bother me. And I'm telling you, that was a major goal for me, man. That was a huge goal. I called my mama. She started crying because she know how I am. She know how I was.
That's powerful. But thank you, John, for sharing. Thank you. But we're gonna come right up on what you're talking about, John. And we're gonna formulate some really good mantras, because I'm offering these as samples. These are some that are out there that were offered, and actually I'll put them out here just to show that they are actually poorly written mantras. These are not good mantras at all. And I wanted to point that out. That was the objective here. Okay. So are there any thoughts? Because I'm going to end it right here. I want to be respectful of time. Are there any thoughts or any other comments on what's been offered thus far?
This is Dee. I have a quick thought.
Yes.
I actually have a set of, I put that down, sorry. I actually have a set of affirmation cards that I created a few years ago to help people who've been through similar things as me, healing from childhood trauma. And I'm noticing now from this lesson that I might want to go through and, change up a couple of the cards, maybe not all of them, but a couple of the cards I might want to go through and reword and then relaunch them.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yep. Good observation, Dee. Thank you.
Peace, family.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah.
Yeah, this whole lesson just kind of reminded me of something that because I used to smoke cigarettes. Like I smoked cigarettes for like 13 years. And I had tried to quit for, several times. I made several attempts. So what I had did was I was like, well, I wanted to reprogram my mind, my subconscious mind, to quit smoking. So what I would do is I would write on the cigarette box, I would write, "I will kill you" on every single side of that box. On every side of that box, I wrote, took a Sharpie and wrote, "I will kill you." So it was in my mind, I was going to reprogram my mind to be self-preserving. It's so that I would quit. This is what I was thinking. This is gonna work. So I don't know if that actually was what made me quit, but that was my intention. So looking at it in hindsight, I'm like, well, I wrote "I will quit" on the box. That was a mantra. I didn't realize that was a mantra at the time, but that was a mantra. So I'm looking at it now, I'm like, well, this was something that I did years ago. And now I'm looking at like, well, back to the candy. I'm gonna need to have a mantra for this candy to get me off of this candy. Because if I did it for the cigarettes, right? if I could reprogram my mind for the cigarette, I can do it for this candy.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I can definitely do it. Into the mantra, I also I have a new one, and it came from you, Instructor Vine, and it comes from me having a monkey mind, and it came from you was saying you had to be silent to listen, and listen and silent is the same word, and that stick with me like oatmeal. So that's a mantra that I just use, when my mind gets to, going every which way. I'm like, listen, silent, silent, listen, and it just go back and forth. So that's a mantra that I use to help me, calm down. And thank you. I appreciate you for that. Thank you for that. I needed
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I'm glad it helped you. Yeah. Any other thoughts on what's been offered thus far? Okay.
Peace, family.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you, instructor. Thank you. This was awesome. Per usual.
Thank you, brother.
Going to really hone in on my internal talk.
Yeah.
And mind the garden a little bit more tediously, based off tonight's lecture. So gratitude. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. I'm glad it helped you. Anybody else, instructors, anything good for the order? Want to be mindful of time.
Masterful series instructor. You are
Thank you, brother.
you are a master teacher, brother. And
Shay, thank you, brother. I'm just a vehicle, brother.
well, it's true, but the magic and the power is in your, not only your submission to it, but your dedication and your relentless pursuit of the things that you have been taught and the things that come to you. And I'm thankful for being in close proximity to you. And I just want to share with the listeners how this weekend you uh, changed my approach to exercise and elevated elevated the metaphysical study in utilizing the chakra energy in relationship to weight training, and how in focusing on the energy, the body and the body development that's going to come out of it is just a consequence of the proper focus of energy, and aiding me in taking this internal work that we do with chakra work and meditation and energy work, taking it from an internal practice and moving it into an external practice, and the dynamic exponential growth that I can feel in just a matter of days, internally and externally, and just continuing to give us utility for these lofty concepts, of metaphysics and energy work. They're lofty concepts that have been abstract to us for so long, haven't been stolen from us. And now that we're actually back at the table and feasting at this table, and it's taking it from theoretical, brain, mental stimulation and moving it into the physical, and then wrapping it all together and moving us up the line in our divinity. So I just want to just thank you, brother, for what you do, and looking forward to us not finally, but being able to actually close this series out next week. I think it'll be in right divine order that it'll be on the 7th. So everything is where it should be.
In divine order, brother. Yes, sir.
Thank you, bro. Love you.
Love you too, man. And instructor, cool. I thank you, man, because you actually helped me think about, because I've been doing that type of energy work for a number of years now. And in you working with me in that space, you help me formulate it to a point to where I had to explain it to someone. And that actually helped me tremendously grow in it, to where I had to actually think about what I was doing, why I was doing it, the wording that I used to describe it, to actually give it to you. So you actually helped me, brother. So thank you for even taking the time out to join me during that workout, and then help me formulate what I had just been sharing through feeds and chats to you guys. But you made me embrace the content from another way, which was tremendous to me. So thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah. Anything else, instructors? Anything good for the order? We can close it out, and I will wrap it up next week.
Peace and love, family.
Thank you, instructor.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, instructor.
Thank you, instructor.
All right. Peace.
Everybody.
Thank you, guys. See you
Peace,
next
peace.
week. See
Thank
some of
you,
you
instructor.
tomorrow.
Thank you,
Peace
instructor.
and love, fam. Peace and love.
Peace.
Peace out.
Yes,
Peace and
like
love.
I really
Right.
need it. Much
Good
appreciated.
class.
Right. Thank you.